A little fart.
You're into the blanket.
Yeah, no, I kind of like the comforter, honestly.
Okay.
We shouldn't have too much of this banter because you're gonna tempt me to just leave it in when.
Oh, is it recording?
Yeah, I started recording.
Oh man, I forgot that you do that. Okay.
Nah, I should probably take it out though, honestly.
Welcome back to Disruptive with Gabi and Aaron. Today is a very interesting episode because Gabi does not know the topic. I do, but he does not.
Yes.
And the topic is money versus happiness. Now, I want to just phrase it as a question. The question is that is money or the pursuit of money worth doing things and spending time that are not enjoyable and either don't make you happy or don't seem to lead directly to happiness? And before we get into the weeds, I just want to preface by saying that in the next 30 minutes or so, we're not going to answer this question. There is no answer to the question.
I disagree.
Well, you're wrong. We could talk about this for hours. Sure. The applications of the nuances of it. There's really no answer to it. We're just going to vomit all over the place our thoughts on it and
spew our
maybe
thoughts.
Maybe we'll get somewhere. Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts. I would say, like you said, it very much depends on the person. But the reason why I say it's answerable is you can't tell me somebody that's suffering of starvation, right, and their family can't get food or whatever, that money's not going to solve their problem. You know what I mean? It will in those cases where somebody where if your problem is something like a health procedure that you can't pay for, money will absolutely solve your thing. And not only that, it's nice to have money. It's money just means freedom. I don't know. People say typically once your needs are met. And whatever, it used to be 70,000 a year, they used to say, is the golden number.
Yeah.
Right. Now it's probably a lot higher. But they used to say once your needs are met, more money doesn't necessarily equal happiness. I say that's bullshit. I think you go on a nicer vacation, it will feel nicer. However, I do think there is a point of diminishing return where it really doesn't make a difference. And at a certain point, and you can maybe make the argument for what I'm making right now, but at a certain point, it's not really about the money anymore. It's about the power or the power plays. And I can't even put myself in the mindset of somebody that has so much money. So I don't even know why somebody like Jeff Bezos, and I don't even know if he does it, or Elon Musk, for example. I don't know why he continues to do crazy ambitious things. You know what I mean?
I think I can. I think I actually maybe might know why. Not being someone that's rich.
Sure.
I think. So here's the deal. I feel like the saying is that, if I just had $1 million, I'd be happy, all my problems would be solved, life would be amazing, right? Now, I used to feel that way too. Give me $1 million. I'm sure there's a million's not that much. Give me $5 million, or I don't know, even give me $2 million. And life will be good. I don't have to work, and I can basically have things that I want, and I'll be free.
Yeah. Come on.
So no. So the thing is, I'll tell you why it's not true. Is because okay, let me ask you a question. If you got $2 million today, what would you do with it? $2
million is not enough though.
No, it's just fun. So what would you do with it?
I mean, I would try to maybe buy a house, have some type of security set up, some type of renting property, some type of safe investment that I could kind of help the money save as long as possible. But that's the thing, 2 million, it would really have to be either 5 million where it's really just retirement money.
Let's say 5.
I would just retire. Honestly, I would probably live the same way.
But what would you do with the money?
Okay, so quite literally, I'd probably buy a house,
okay,
right? And that save the money enough so that I could support myself and live through those investments. I might still do therapy, but probably less. Right now, I see about 20 to 25 clients a week, which is it's considered a full caseload. But I don't know, probably reduce it between 5 to 10, and then still do everything else I'm doing.
But 1 second. But you didn't answer the question. What would you do with the money?
Oh, with the money?
Yeah. So you say you buy a house.
The
house costs what? Give me a number.
I don't know, 2 million.
2 million. What are you doing with the rest? You have 3 million left.
3 million left. Yeah. I mean, I would. It's probably put it in investment stuff.
Okay, so that's right. So the reason why I ask you is because that is to me the obvious answer, right? Which is why the statement of having a certain amount of money will make me happy is not true. Because so let's say you got $5 million, right?
Sure.
You spend $2 million on a house, you have $3 million to invest, right? Yep. I think you'd be stupid to not invest $3 million or more, or at least something, right?
Yep.
So you spend all that money is stupid, right? $3 million, if you understand how money works, $3 million should make you more money, right?
Right.
However, with the $3 million that you're now investing comes the stress of needing to manage that money.
Right.
Like my roommate works in wealth management. This whole field of when you have wealth, you can't just have the wealth, you need to manage it. And if you choose to not manage it, you can say, oh, I'm just going to live on the beach and okay, you can do that, but you're foregoing such opportunity. Your money is just going to essentially depreciate with inflation.
Okay, but that I don't
very
care about.
little, right? Fine, but or you can do like you can get very little return on it. But like if you actively manage that money, you can use that money to make a lot more money. And I think you'd be kind of dumb to not do that.
No, I hear you. It would be dumb not to do it, not because like you could make so much more money. It more so to me like the longevity of it, of just like I want to retire now. $5 million is retirement money. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, if you're living a normal like whatever 6-figure salary kind of lifestyle. $5 million is enough to retire.
So do you think it's worth it to forego the stress of managing that money to not invest it at all and just have it?
I mean, you could just hire a manager, and put it in.
Right. No, that's true. But what I'm saying is that even if you do that, you still might wake up in 2 months and check your portfolio and
stress out about it.
Yeah.
No, I hear that point. I still think it. What was your question? Is it worth it?
The point that I'm getting at is that so the point that I'm getting at with this example is that
but
because of that.
Let me just say that. Let me just say real quick. That to me is a much more preferable stress than like. Shoot, I have the insurance bill and the electricity bill and my rent and my car bill all coming up at the same time, right? And like, I don't even know if I'm going to I'll just probably barely make it. So, you know what I mean?
I think I agree, but the thing is though, is that, well, I forgot what I was going to say. I think I agree, but it still like, I don't know. It's still, if your portfolio is worth 3 million and then over a few months now it's worth 2.5, like that's still bad,
That sucks.
But that's still something that might happen with investing.
Right. And that probably might be a worse feeling to experience than anything you would have experienced never having had that money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like me and my lifestyle worried about, oh my God, am I going to make all the bills at the end of the month? Which is a stressful feeling, and whatever, I always make it, right? But like it's a stressful feeling. That might not be like peanuts compared to like looking at your portfolio one day and realizing like 50% of it is gone.
But the difference is that in your scenario, if you can't pay the bills, that's, you need that to be paid immediately. And if you have $3 million being invested, if it goes down 0.5, that sucks. But like, it's not like you needed that money needed for a necessity.
For
but the point that I'm getting at is that because of this concept, I don't think there's really, if you are being smart with money, I don't think there's ever and there's no amount. I don't think there's any amount of money that like now you're fine because now you have to manage that money. And I think if you choose to not manage it, you're being stupid.
Okay, but you could choose to hire a manager and not stress about it. Look, if you have stupid rich money, like stupid, like I'm saying, like if you have $100 million and you literally, and I doubt people with $100 million think this way, but like, and you literally just wanted to retire, like you could put it in safe investments like bonds or whatever, where you literally don't even have to ever think about it. You know what I mean? Every few years.
You could. You could put it in risk-free investments that will have a guaranteed return and that money will grow over time. But the thing is though, is that I would challenge you to say, like, would you really do that? Like if you had $10 million,
okay, so that's the thing.
You know how much power you have? There's so much opportunity. You're just going to put it in a bond?
This is exactly what I was thinking when you asked me what I would do with $5 million and I gave you the answer that I gave you. I was like, well, would I actually do that? And then I realized I'd probably blow it all. You know what I mean? Like I'd probably at first be like, yeah, I got to be really smart about this. I'd probably at least take $1 million and waste it. At least, the very least. It'll just be like on stupid stuff, like things I absolutely don't need.
Like depreciating things.
Yeah,
or,
like
or
just, I don't know, like a boat I didn't need, like random stupid things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I'm more curious to get to this point of like, it sounds like you're trying to make an argument that it's just as stressful to have a lot more money than not.
I'm not necessarily saying just as, but well, I guess we're a little off topic, but the point was just to say that that there's, with money comes more
other
stress,
responsibilities.
And so I guess going back to like the original question, is it better to just quote unquote be happy or, and not happy really focus on money? So you make the money that you need, or in the case that you have the money that you need, you just live your best life and you don't care about money.
Okay, what you just said though is so brilliant and enlightening and absolutely true. And also I feel like a tool used by the rich and powerful to keep people kind of silent. Of just like, oh, you should just be happy with what you have. Don't you know that that's a better lifestyle?
Yeah, I hate when people say that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, happens to be, it's true. It's beautiful wisdom. It's like really, it's really powerfully true. Like, if you could sit down and be happy with what you have, that is the best thing.
I don't think I agree.
What do you mean?
You think sit down and be happy? Well, what do you mean by be happy with what you have?
Meaning, if you could actually get to a point of internal enlightenment where like you genuinely are okay, you could be like, you know what this kind of reminds me of? A little bit like Jack from Titanic.
Yeah.
So Jack is the main Leonardo DiCaprio. He's the male lead in the movie Titanic. And basically like his appeal is that he's an artist. And like this line that he said was like, last night I was sleeping under a bridge and tonight I'm having dinner with you fine gentlemen, and like a 13-course meal on the Titanic, like with super fancy rich people. And like he was the only person, and this is why Rose really like fell in love with him. He was the only person that was real. Like all the others, they would talk about like stupid petty things. Like they didn't have like real problems. Like, but Jack, like he experienced life. He actually like felt things. And like that idea, like if you could get there, and I'm not saying people should be okay sleeping under a bridge or whatever, but like that is probably a better place to be. Like I wouldn't want that for myself, but like objectively, I could probably understand Jack is in that sense is probably more free and happy than I am or anybody else in a life of just like worried about getting somewhere else. You know, like Jack is just happy where he is, whether that be rich, whether that be poor, and that is probably the best way to live. You know, I would say. But that being said, if you're not on that level of enlightenment, then more money is better. No.
So, let's see. I guess where to take this next would be that if this let's say Jack or this enlightened person, you know, would have opportunity in front of them to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, you know, let's say they say someone presented Jack with the opportunity over the course of the next year,
right.
They can make $1 million, even let's say in today's time, still a lot of money for 1 year, right? But they would have to do something very boring, like work in the cement business. I don't know, and you know, do so, but something that they could do, like it wasn't it was basically guaranteed. But you have to do the work, you know. But that's what you're not gonna be spending those hours doing art. You're gonna spend it, you know. But it's $1 million.
I think there's probably a point where Jack would probably say yes, but I think generally he would say no. You know what I mean? Like,
but there's definitely a point where he would say yes, which is why
probably a point where he would.
Which is why this whole conversation. That's why in the beginning when I said that that there's no answer. The reason why I said there's no answer is because I think for everyone, like let's make an extreme case, right? Let's say it could be for you, right? Let's say for you, or anyone. Yeah, let's say for you, if you had opportunity that you can make $1 million in a day, but that day would suck, like not like physical pain, but it would just be very, very menial and boring and non-passionate. Of course you would do it.
Yeah, probably.
Of course you would do it. So the question is like, hey, then what do you do if it took a year? I think you would. What if it took 2 years?
Depends what it is.
Right, but I guess I don't know. I'm not really giving an example. Like, I mean, something that you would find very boring and non-meaningful, but it would make money.
Paperwork of any kind.
Yeah, like very, very boring.
Yeah.
Like I guess you could even say something that contributes something to society, but it's just very boring.
There might be a point though where I literally would be incapable of doing it. Like I would just be like, this is too soul crushing. I can't. You know?
Really?
I'm saying like it might literally be impossible. Like I might be like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. You'll offer me $10 million to do this really boring thing for 2 years. I might sign up right away, but I literally might be like, I just cannot sign another freaking paper. You know?
I mean, it's an interesting concept. Like I kind of think you still would. I mean,
probably
it's not like lifting weights. It's let's say data entry. Like it's something that you could do.
I don't know what it is. This is so off topic, but like my brain just sometimes shuts off on these kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess like we often talk about this concept of like, you know, wanting to make more money, wanting to even have the ability to not work. Right. You know, so it's like with some people, you know, they're an opportunity where the things. I guess like I'm kind of in this situation. I'm an actuary, which like I'm getting better at it, and it's I like when people ask me, do you like what you do? It's like, it's a very hard question to answer. I think the answer is no. Like if I'm answering yes or no, the answer is no. Like do I like it? No, I don't like it. Like I like, I don't know. I like watching sports. Sure. I like, I don't know, going fishing, going to the beach. I don't like my job, but as far as jobs go, it's not that bad. Right. So now if it didn't pay well, right? Like if it paid, I don't know, if it paid minimum wage, then the amount of effort and you know, time that goes into it, and you know, the difficulty wouldn't be worth it, right? So it's only worth it because you're getting compensated for it, right? So in a sense, you could say like, oh, like I actually, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back. I remember a college class I took. It was intro to socially engaged art. It was socially engaged art, which I literally. And now I have no idea what that means. Then I don't think I had any idea what that means. But the cool thing about this class was that in the beginning of the class, the professor would go around. Someone would ask an open-ended question, and everyone would give an answer. how they would answer the question. That was my favorite part of the class, and it was cool. It was like a small class of maybe 14, 13 people, and
Nice.
everyone would go around answering. So one time I asked the question. I said, "Would you?" I think the question was, I don't know if I remember the numbers correctly, but the basic idea was, would you forego a week of your life for $1 million?
Of course.
And everyone said, "I'm trying." The thing is, I'm trying because I said no, but now I'm thinking like, would I really say no to that?
Dude, you're probably you're probably wasting more of your life.
Right.
Making way less.
So the thing is though, is that, so that's the thing that everyone says. My retort to that though, is that even the time I'm spending to make less money than that, I'm still alive.
Okay.
Right. So now, not to say that even when I'm doing things that I like doing, do I necessarily feel the passion of life and not always, right? And definitely not always when I work, right? So, but that being said, I like to think that there still is value in being alive, even if it's spent doing something you don't want to do. So the question is like,
that's a good point.
So here's the thing.
That's a good point.
The numbers were wrong. I think it was a year. I think it was like $1 million, or maybe it was even 10.
Oh, a year.
You know what? No, maybe it was like, it might have even been like 100 grand for a year or something like that.
It
was something, and so many. I wish I remembered the numbers because like everyone said, of course I would do it.
100 grand for 1 year? That's preposterous.
And what everyone said was that, well, you're going to need that year to make the 100 grand or the million or whatever it is, right?
Throughout that time, that is definitely
right.
Not.
So
100 grand for a year is not a worth it trade.
So that to me, that's obvious because it's like that's life. Like I don't know, but the thing is though, if you make it a day, then you said immediately you would do it, and like I don't know. I feel like this. I'm still be scared to play this game of life, of giving away life, which is like the most meaningful thing.
Right.
But a day, for $1 million,
Why the hell
like
not?
you have to do it, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, which is like a strange thing because literally life is the most valuable thing. There's nothing more valuable than that.
That's such an interesting point, and probably like a horrible capitalist angle to look at it, of just like literally how much is somebody's time worth. It's so funny. I saw this reel the other day of just like a regular Amazon worker, like one of the warehouse workers, and Jeff Bezos. And Jeff Bezos was walking through the warehouse, and the Amazon worker went over to say hi to him. And you see just like on top of their heads, like the Amazon worker, like every few seconds, like he makes 1 cent. Mm-hmm. And then Jeff Bezos, just like it is like within their entire interaction, like Jeff Bezos made $2,500 and this Amazon worker made like 13 cents. You know what I mean? That like was so mind blowing, of just like, I don't know. It's kind of strange. You're right. We're talking about like life and money, and it kind of brings up weird feelings in me for some reason, of just like, this is what it brings up in me. It's just like, is life really reduced to just like value and money and what you do to the market, what rich people can make off of you? And just like it just becomes almost meaningless, or it just totally commoditized to the point where like you're absolutely right. Like your life is worth more than the actual money that you're making. Like even a job that you don't like, at least you're alive, and that is something. And we lose all value for that. And that's kind of strange.
So you said you've seen Severance, right?
Yeah.
So don't spoil it because I haven't seen it. I want to see it. But we had a team building meeting where we kind of just chat, and someone was talking about Severance. Was just talking about the idea of the show Severance, and so this question kind of came up of like, would you, like, if you could like skip, like fast forward the work hours, would you do it? And it's like, I'm like, no, because like at least I'm alive. Yeah. Like I'm gonna skip 40 hours every single week. At least I'm alive during those hours. Yeah. Like, now if my work was like painful, like excruciating, then I wouldn't want to be in excruciating pain, but it's like, it's unpleasant at times, and it's a drag at times. But I would, okay, but 1 second, but going back to one thing you said before about the being happy with what you have. So this is it's a Jewish proverb, right? It's in Pirkei Avos. It says, who is wealthy, someone who is happy with his lot, with what he has, right? Now, I don't want to make this a religious thing, but I think this is an interesting topic because that is always taught as, at least in my education, is like, it's taught at face value. Like, be happy with what you have. That is wealth. And when you're happy with what you have, and if you're not happy with what you have, you could have a lot, but you're just going to be miserable. 100%. And that's no way to live. And that's true. But the thing is, though, is that I think there's some nuance here. No, I think there is. Because like, what does it mean to be happy with what you have? Like, so right now, so 1 second. So I'm studying for my next actuary exam, right? If I pass, I'll get a raise, right? If I were not to get a raise, were I to take this exam, I would not take this exam.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm taking it for the raise. Right. Now, I also like to think that it's better, it's good for me and my growth and my humanity to be more educated and to be more knowledgeable, and to be more credentialed. But the thing is, though, is that if you said, oh, like be happy with what you have, it's like, okay, I have a certain salary right now. If I was truly happy with what I had, then why would I, why would I do something that's uncomfortable to make more money?
Okay, so here's the thing. What you described is an ideal, right? Like, I think we could all look at that ideal and recognize it's far better to be able to be where you are and completely comfortable and at peace, right? And to have almost like a sense of security of like, no matter what happens, you're okay. That is obviously like the ideal. I think like it's indisputable, I think nobody could really lord that over your head or use it as like an abuse or a manipulation. But like internally, like if we could all be honest with ourselves, I think that is the best thing. Because like as long as you tie your happiness to something external, you really are never free and you really are never happy. It's always something that could be pushed further along. And I don't know if this is Western culture or just like because of the way the world works. So many people push off their feeling of being enough, their feeling of even worthy of love in many cases, or, feeling of self-worth to when I make a certain amount of money, when I'm at a certain goalpost. That's so sad, and it's so not true too. And it's like, we need to be able to like find the light within, so to speak, and recognize that like, no, you're okay. Like literally there are people, this is the saddest thing. I saw like, there are people that believe like, no, you should wait to have a relationship till you get like a certain income or a six pack or whatever the thing is. That is so toxic. That is so just like not true. You're holding yourself back. And it's just like, I'm kind of digressing here a little bit, but I think like the idea of putting your happiness or adequacy or worth on a dollar amount is just, it's wrong and it's bad and it will lead you astray.
I think you just made I don't even know if you meant to make this point, but I think you just made a really interesting point in the sense that if you say happiness and you say you tie your happiness to what you have or what you make, that's a dangerous game.
Right.
And then truly you will never be happy because you could always make more.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But I think then we need to make a distinction between happiness and satisfaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like you could be making 50 grand a year and you are still happy because like you said, you tie your happiness and your self-worth and your purpose and your sense of self to things other than possessions and money. But should you be satisfied? Like, should you be, I'm okay with this and I don't need to get any better?
Yeah.
That's a dangerous game.
Dude, this is a brilliant
because you
topic.
might be able to make 500K if you hustled and you're going to live your whole life making 50. Hey, some people make 30 grand, but I'm saying you're going to make 50 grand your whole life. And because you're like that's, to be satisfied with it. That's
that. That's totally, I so agree with you. This is a perfect topic for another disruptive episode of growing from a place of abundance rather than a place of scarcity. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's such a good point. I think I personally even too work with a lot of clients. And I'm not going to get into too many details. Obviously I'm HIPAA compliant. Guys, sign up. No, I'm joking. Yeah, shameless plug to the men's therapy studio. Anyways, but basically, I work with people even that like they have this idea of like, well, my scarcity mindset of like I'm not enough and like I have to just make as much money as possible got me this far. Like, how do I let go of that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be as ambitious, and it's a process to really like understand, like to recognize you've made it and you grow you grow and be ambitious and actually succeed and play the game, not from a place of like, I need to do this or else I'm not enough, to like a place of like, this is my expression. I'm just in the playground, like playing, and like, this is I do this like as a expression of my will, and this is an extension of that. Yeah.
And that's the ground we have to land on where like, it's not just with money, but with everything. If you truly, like if you really are happy, right. And you love yourself, most people don't, but if you do, then if you have the opportunity to make more money, like you're going to go after it. Now, that being said, then you'll have to deal with like, well, that's the question of this episode of like, well, what if the making more money sucks the life out of you? Then will you do it? But the basic idea is that if you really love yourself and love your life and are truly happy, you're going to do things, to better your situation. You're going to, you're going to go for that job. You're going to go for the interview. You're going to approach that girl. You know, you're going to go to, it's like being in shape, right? Like, do you like in the manosphere, they talk about this a lot of like you get in shape, right? To get girls, but then you realize you get in shape and you still don't get girls, but now the men respect you, right? Which in my experience is kind of true. It's like being in shape does not make it that now you get girls, right? But like, yeah, I do think that men kind of respect you more. But the thing is though, is that the people that get girls are the people that are highly confident and just have a high sense of self and love their lives. I mean, that's a separate episode, but I think totally separate episode. But I think like that's like the basic idea. And the truth is, so the way I see it is, if you really loved yourself, like why would you not be in shape? I don't know. There are some people that just, I guess I wouldn't say this categorically because like there could be, I'm sure there are people that are very happy and they love their lives and they just hate exercise and they just eat unhealthy and like I guess they're still okay with it, but like for me, like I absolutely not. Even if girls or money was not on the table, it's like if I love myself and love my life, of course I'm going to want to have a six pack.
Yeah.
And be in shape. Like, why would I not?
You're going to want to take care of yourself.
I mean, some people think they can't, but like if you really, in the zone, of course you could,
100%. No, Aaron, I feel like I love this conversation. I feel like we're digressing too much.
Yeah.
I feel like you also had a thesis coming into this. And I'm curious to hear what that is.
I don't think I did.
Oh, no? You were really just open to this discussion?
I don't think I did. And that's the thing is that there is no answer because it's like I said, it's all going to be a balance. You can give me the most boring, life-sucking thing to do, but if you gave me, if you did it at the right price and it was for a small amount of time, I'm going to do it and everyone's going to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's like they say, I feel like when you're in college, there's a whole thing like what you major in and people say like follow your passion and stuff like that. And then a lot of the stuff I see on social media now, they know that I'm into money. So now they send me all these reels about people that are talking about money. And it's like, these people are saying like, that's terrible advice, which I kind of agree with, like go after your passion. It's like, well, you should have passions and you should pursue them. But it's like, if there's opportunity somewhere, it's like if someone told you that there is a $10 million check on the other side of the world waiting for you, but you have to get there, even if that would be hard, you'd do it. And then you'd have the $10 million, it's probably, like, but now if it would take you your whole life to get there, like if you had to walk there, then maybe you wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? But it's like simply follow your passion is like, I don't know. It's like people might like, let's say you're into health. So you want to become a physical therapist or whatnot. Like, it's a great career. It could be a great career, but it's like the purely follow your passion. You can have a life that's very into health and very influential when it comes to health, but still pursue opportunities in other things. And as I'm talking, I realize I'm a little all over the place today, but I realized that there was another thing I was going to say before when you were talking about people, billionaires, right? And like how did how do they get to become this way that like they're still like I don't know, like you have $10 billion, like what you really want more. The reason why I think they're like that, I meant to talk about this, but I totally got off track, is that the only reason why they became billionaires is because they operated a certain way. So it's not like they choose to like, oh, I have $10 billion. How do I make that into 20? Is that they only got to be a billionaire because they realize that you need your money to make more money and you need your money to work for you. So it's like on a smaller level, if you contribute, let's say to a 401k or a Roth IRA, which if you can, I think you're stupid to not do it. But it's like if you have that mindset of like, you're using your money and your resources to make more money, then when you get to a higher scale, you're just doing it on a bigger scale, but you're doing the same exact thing. Yeah. If you didn't have that mindset, I heard a saying that the middle class, what they do is, I heard a saying that the lower class, they spend their money on needs, they live paycheck to paycheck. The middle class spends, when they get raises, they spend their money on luxuries, vacations, cars, stuff like that. The rich people, the upper class, when they get money, they use their money to make more money, right? That's how you make money. So the only reason why in, I think most cases, people became so successful financially is because they operate under this mindset of they use money to make more money. And now that they have more money, they use that to make more money.
Right. No, honestly, I hear that point and I don't want to be too cynical, honestly, but like, I try not to be so pessimistic. But I do think it's a little more complicated. I think like there's almost like a myth in America of like this pull yourself up by your bootstraps and like, use your money smartly and you'll be rich and whatever. And I think a lot of it is like, it's just like a rat race. It's just like running the hamster wheel. It doesn't actually work. And it's like, there are self-made billionaires, like, let's be real. But I don't know. Most billionaires, I don't think that's how they did it. You know, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What do I know?
It's funny. The comedy show that you performed in a couple days ago.
I totally bombed in.
But okay, well, that's not what I was gonna say.
Sure.
You didn't, but that's not what I was gonna say. But it's funny. Like I feel like I've changed a lot over the years because I remember one of the comics was. I feel like a lot of comics in general, but definitely beginner comics do a lot of self-deprecating humor. When I did comedy for like 2 months, like before COVID, and I was really bad, and I stopped. Haven't done it since. But I did a lot of self-deprecating humor, which like some comedians do that, and they're very funny, and it could be good. But I don't really. So one of the comics at your show, he made a joke of talking to someone who was asking him about like his investments or now like with the recession, or if you call this a recession or whatnot, like how down his portfolio is, and he's like, portfolio? You mean my DraftKings account? And it like that makes me sad. Like, you know, like it's not like, I don't know, a few years ago that would have been funny to me. Like it's not funny anymore. Like you don't know what an investment portfolio is, then Google it. Like, you know, I mean there's just words like learn, Google, what's a 401k, what's a Roth IRA? It's not so hard.
No, actually you made me realize that like to anybody listening, I obviously am very pro understanding money and studying money and understanding investments and anything you can do with your money. I'm pro that. I don't want to make it sound like those are bad ideas. Like they could very well be amazing ideas for you. Look into it. But I was just saying, like, I think that myth of like, I hate to say names and I hate to call people out, but like Dave Ramsey and like that whole like idea
of what?
Of just like, don't spend. Happens to be, I don't necessarily know all of Dave Ramsey's ideas, so like I don't want to characterize him or anything, but like this idea of like people that don't necessarily make a lot of money, saving money is not going to get you rich.
Yeah, no, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I feel like people fall for this idea and they end up living so stingily that it actually hurts them much more. And look, that being said, Dave Ramsey has obviously helped a lot of people. You're invited to the podcast. I don't want to insult anybody, but like I really don't. I'm really not that type of person, but like I just think like that a lot of those ideas are like mythologized and almost part of like the religion of America, so to speak, of just like this idea of like this American dream of like getting rich. And it's just kind of like, it's like mental masturbation. It doesn't actually, you know, you're not actually getting anywhere. That's not how super rich people actually got rich.
Well, no, I feel like the whole Dave Ramsey spiel, like his recipe will not make you rich, but it will make you stable.
Right. And look, and that being said, also, I'm sure certain people really need to hear Dave Ramsey. Like he's helped a lot of people.
But like I feel like he pops up my feed a lot too, and I'm like, what am I watching this? Like it's like he says some smart stuff, but I think he also says some really dumb stuff. And everyone's like, oh, but he's richer than you. And I'm like, well, there's also people richer than me that also use credit cards. So I'm like,
exactly,
anyway, as we're wrapping it up, fun segment.
Okay. Sure.
We're both gonna do this.
Yeah.
Dream job. Go.
Ooh, dream job. No, a therapist. I'm living my dream job.
Come on, really?
I swear.
You can do anything.
Okay, the only difference I would make is like I would be much better versed in certain therapy modalities. Certain certifications might cost like a lot of money, but like I would like to know a lot of different therapy styles.
But you would still do therapy. You could do anything.
Therapy's my dream job. Okay, so it happens to be my dream job is therapy. I did it. I succeeded.
First of all, you're a liar. You're a straight up liar.
I swear to you. One second. Hold on. Since high school, I've wanted to be a therapist.
Okay.
That being said, you're talking about the sitcom thing right now, right?
Well, that and other stuff.
Wait, what other stuff?
Podcasting.
Oh, okay.
No, but dream big.
No, I hear you. Dream job is absolutely therapy, and it's my dream job. Podcasting's my dream job. Writing sitcoms is my dream job. No, but
you're not understanding the Gabi. You're not understanding
like what is the one dream job?
Yeah, give me a dream job. I mean, it could be a couple things, but like those are different.
I think it would be podcasting about mental health. Yeah.
Okay.
And not necessarily mental health only, but like
kind
of like this is my thing. You know Lex Friedman?
Not really.
Okay, so he has a technology podcast that's like it, and he's famous for that, and he's an excellent podcaster. I love Lex Friedman, but like his thing is like it's very technology, but he also talks about literally anything. So my thing is like I want to be like Lex Friedman in the mental health field. Of just like it's mental health, but also just literally everything.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That wasn't so hard. Okay, for me, I'm gonna say musician / actor, preferably Broadway, but I'll take film or TV also.
Sweet.
But this is what we do. We're just dreaming here. This isn't practical.
I love that.
Okay. Now, the opposite of your dream job. Worst possible job. Worst in the world.
Oh, God. Yeah. It would have to be something bureaucratic. Like anything to do with paperwork. Would just like, I can't.
Paperwork.
Anything paperwork related. And honestly, that's what's so funny. That's kind of what I hate about therapy.
Toby.
Toby. Oh, my God, dude. happens to be therapy does have a lot of paperwork. And this is the saddest thing. Dude, we did our rant segment last week. Dude, paperwork is literally like the bane of my existence. It's like literally like if I could kill paperwork, it would just be like killing paperwork. Like I got into therapy to help people, you know, and talk to people, not to write freaking paperwork. And that's literally like, I don't know, 25% of the job.
All right, for me, also related to my rant last week, but my worst ever god awful kill me right now job is salesman. I literally, because it's not like I think the thing I hate worst in the world, like the worst thing for me is being sold to. When someone is selling me something and I could tell that they are trying to sell something to me, I feel like a few years ago, when I was very naive, I kind of like got taken for a ride a couple times, but then I got super, super skeptical. And now it's like, you can't sell almost like I overcompensated the other way. It's like, I'm just skeptical of everything, which is good, but also like not so good. But anyway, like I hate being sold to. And look, like I'm down for sales techniques if you are truly bettering someone else's life. Like if you're trying to sell something to someone that you really, really believe is going to better their life, and their life will be better if they pay you the money for it and get that thing, you know, and you need to learn how to sell for you in order to do that, by all means, like that's awesome. That's great. But most salespeople, they're learning sales techniques just for the sake of making the sale, and they don't care about the outcome of it. It's just make the sale,
so
and they just bullshit and they lie and they're dishonest. And I'm not all salespeople do this.
Yeah.
But when your goal is just to make the sale, that's the only. So it's like the classic. I'm going a little overtime, but the classic. Sell me this pen, right?
Right.
If someone tells me sell me this pen, I'm going to say the only thing I'm going to say to them is, do you need a pen? And if they say no, I'll be like, then why would I sell you the pen? You don't need the pen, right? Now, again, I'm not a salesperson and I'm not making my living that way. So like, if that's your job, I understand that if you have that mentality, you might make less money, maybe. And I'm not on the hook for that. So fine. I'm a little bit, okay. But this is what I feel, what I think.
Okay.
I would say, do you need a pen? And if you need a pen, I'll be like, okay, maybe we can make it work that this pen will work for you. But if you don't need a pen, why would I sell you the pen?
No, I still get that. I think the one difference I would see it in is in like luxury goods to like wealthy people, of just like, say you're trying to sell somebody a higher tier wine versus like in that case, that happens to be like for that niche, like for the rich person that enjoys wine, let's say, it probably will make their life better. You know what I mean? But like you probably have to do the sales spiel to get them to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm not a salesperson, but I don't know. I got my heart rate up just now a little bit. This is the thing that really ticks me off. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. Gabi, this is fun. And tune in next week for another episode of Disruptive. Take care, guys.
All right.